Two accounts, the same $7,500 a year, and a single choice between them that could be worth six figures by the time you retire. It's the Roth versus Traditional IRA, one of the most important and most misunderstood decisions in personal finance. Get it right, and you keep tens of thousands more of your own money. Get it wrong, and you quietly hand it to the IRS. Here's the good news. The choice is simpler than it sounds. It really comes down to one honest question about your taxes. Now versus later. Today, we break down both accounts side by side in plain English so you know exactly which one fits your life. Let's follow the money. I'm Don Blake, and this is USAFinance, where we hand you everything you need to get, keep, and grow your money, with nothing but sourced facts and plain English. This is education, not advice, and today it comes with a promise. No cheerleading. Roth and Traditional both win for different people, and by the end, you'll know which camp you're likely in. Why does this matter so much? An IRA is one of the few tools that lets your money grow with the tax code working for you instead of against you. Over a career, that edge compounds into real wealth. Every number today comes from the IRS, Vanguard, and Fidelity. If this helps you decide, subscribe. Let's get into it. First, what even is an IRA? The letters stand for individual retirement account, and the keyword is individual. Unlike a 401k, which you get through your job, an IRA is something you open yourself at a brokerage, a bank, or an app, completely independent of any employer. It's yours, it follows you everywhere, and nobody can take it away. The trade-off versus a 401k, there's no employer match, and the yearly contribution limit is smaller. But in exchange, you usually get far more control. You can invest in almost any stock, bond, or low-cost index fund you want instead of a short menu your company picked, and it comes in two flavors. That's where the real decision lives. Quick clarification, because people mix these up constantly. A 401k and an IRA are not rivals. Most people should use both in a smart order. The common playbook goes like this. First, contribute to your 401k up to the full employer match. That's the free money we covered last time. Then max out an IRA, where your investment choices are wider and often cheaper. Then, if you still have money to invest, go back and put more into the 401k. So think of the IRA as your personal, flexible retirement account that sits alongside your work plan. Today, we're zooming in on the choice inside it, Roth or Traditional. Let's meet both. Every IRA is one of two types, and the entire decision comes down to when you pay your taxes. Option 1, the Traditional IRA. You may get a tax break now. You contribute money that can be deducted from your taxable income this year. It grows without being taxed along the way, and you pay income tax later when you withdraw it in retirement. Option 2, the Roth IRA. You get your tax break later. You contribute money you've already paid taxes on. No deduction today, but it grows completely tax-free, and every dollar you withdraw in retirement is tax-free. Traditional, pay later. Roth, pay now. Same limit, opposite timing. Let's take each one properly. Start with the Traditional IRA. The older, classic version. Its whole appeal is a tax break today. When you contribute, that money can come off your taxable income for the year, which lowers your tax bill right now. Your investments then grow tax deferred. No taxes on the gains or dividends year to year, which lets the balance compound faster than it would in a regular account. The catch comes at the end. Every dollar you eventually withdraw in retirement is taxed as ordinary income because you never paid tax on it going in. You got the break up front, you settle up with the IRS on the back end, but there's a wrinkle on that upfront deduction worth understanding. Here's the wrinkle. Your Traditional IRA deduction isn't always guaranteed. It depends on whether you have a retirement plan at work and how much you earn. If neither you nor your spouse is covered by a workplace plan, your traditional contribution is generally fully deductible no matter your income. Simple. But if you are covered by a plan at work, the deduction phases out at higher incomes. For 2026, a single filer covered at work gets the full deduction up to about $81,000 of income, and married filing jointly up to about $129,000, then it shrinks. Above those levels, you can still contribute, you just may not get the upfront tax break, and if there's no break now, the Roth often looks better. Now the Roth IRA, the newer option that's become a favorite, and for good reason. With a Roth, you flip the timing. You contribute money you've already paid income tax on, so there's no deduction today. In return, you get something powerful. Your money grows completely tax-free, and when you withdraw it in retirement, you owe nothing. Not on your contributions, not on decades of growth. Think about that. If you put in $7,500 a year for 30 years and it grows into a large sum, a Roth lets you take all of it out without the IRS touching a penny. That tax-free growth is the Roth's headline feature, but it's not the only one. Before the extra perks, let's nail the core decision because it's the same simple question every time. Roth versus traditional really comes down to this. Do you think your tax rate will be higher now or higher in retirement? If your rate is higher today, say you're a high earner in your peak years, the traditional deduction is worth more now, so it tends to win. If your rate is likely higher later, common for younger workers and lower earners whose income will climb, the Roth's tax-free withdrawals tend to win. Nobody can predict future tax rates perfectly, which is exactly why many people hedge and use both. There's no catastrophic wrong answer here. Now the Roth's extra perks, because they're what tip a lot of people toward it, beyond just the tax bet. First, no required withdrawals, ever. A traditional IRA forces you to start taking money out at 73, like it or not. A Roth never does while you're alive, so it can keep growing tax-free as long as you want. Second, your contributions are accessible. You can withdraw the money you put in, not the earnings, at any time, without taxes or penalties. That makes a Roth a surprisingly flexible backup. Third, it's a fantastic gift to heirs. Money passed down in a Roth is generally income tax-free to the people who inherit it. Flexibility, no forced withdrawals, tax-free legacy, that's a strong package. Let's be fair to the traditional IRA, because in the right hands, it's the smarter play. Its superpower is that deduction today. If you're in a high tax bracket right now, cutting your taxable income can save you a meaningful amount this year. Money you can invest instead of sending to the IRS. It's especially attractive if you expect to be in a lower tax bracket in retirement, which is common. Many people earn less once they stop working, so they pay a lower rate on those withdrawals than they saved on the way in. So the traditional isn't the old or worse option. For high earners in their peak years, that upfront break is genuinely valuable. Don't count it out. Let's spend a moment on required minimum distributions, RMDs, because they're a real difference between the two, and they surprise people. With a traditional IRA, the government eventually wants its tax money. So starting at age 73, rising to 75 in 2033, you're required to withdraw a minimum amount each year, whether you need it or not, and pay tax on it. Skip it, and the penalty is steep. A Roth IRA has no required distributions during your lifetime. None. You're never forced to touch it, so it can compound tax-free for decades and pass cleanly to your family. For anyone who wants control over when and whether they draw down their savings, that Roth freedom is a big deal. Let's make the tax bet concrete. Imagine two people, each investing $7,500 a year, and their account grows into a healthy six-figure balance by retirement. The traditional saver deducted every contribution, so they saved on taxes for decades. But now, every withdrawal in retirement is taxed as income. If they're in a high bracket, then that tax bill can be large. The Roth saver got no deduction along the way. They paid tax on each contribution up front, but now every dollar comes out completely tax-free. Their balance is entirely theirs. Who won? Whoever guessed their tax rate correctly. Lower rate in retirement, traditional wins. Higher rate in retirement, Roth wins. That's the whole game. Now, an important limit that trips up higher earners. The Roth IRA has income caps. Earn too much and you can't contribute directly. For 2026, if you're single, your ability to contribute to a Roth starts phasing out at a modified income of about $153,000 and disappears entirely above roughly $168,000. For married couples filing jointly, the phase-out runs from about $242,000 to $252,000. Under those levels, you can contribute the full amount. In the phase-out range, you can contribute a reduced amount. Above it, the direct door is closed, but closed doesn't mean locked. There's a legal side entrance high earners use. That side entrance is called the backdoor Roth, and it's worth knowing exists, though it's where you may want a tax professional. The idea is simple in concept. Anyone at any income can contribute to a traditional IRA, and anyone can convert a traditional IRA into a Roth. So high earners who are shut out of contributing to a Roth directly can contribute to a traditional and then convert it, legally moving money into Roth territory. It's a completely legitimate, widely used strategy, but the tax mechanics can get tricky, especially if you already have other traditional IRA money. So this is one to research carefully or run by a pro before you try it. Just know the option is there. Let's cover the basic limits straight from the IRS for 2026. And note they're much smaller than a 401k. You can contribute up to $7,500 total across your IRAs this year. If you're 50 or older, you get a catch-up of $1,100, bringing your limit to $8,600. One key detail, that limit is combined across Roth and traditional. You don't get $7,500 in each. It's $7,500 total, split however you like between them. And to contribute at all, you need earned income, money from working. If your income is lower than the limit, you can only contribute up to what you earned. A spouse who works can also fund an IRA for a non-working partner. 2 more rules worth knowing before you pull money out early because they protect the tax break. First, the Roth 5-year rule. To withdraw your earnings completely tax-free, your Roth generally must be open at least 5 years, and you must be at least 59 and a half. Your contributions, remember, you can always take out freely. It's the growth that has strings. Second, early withdrawals of earnings before 59 and a half usually trigger income tax plus a 10% penalty, with some exceptions like a first home or certain education costs. The takeaway is simple. An IRA is built for retirement. Use it for that, let it grow, and you get the full tax advantage. Let's make it practical. Who tends to win with a Roth? If you're young or early in your career, a Roth is often the standout choice. Your tax rate is likely lower now than it will be later, so paying taxes today at a low rate and withdrawing tax-free at a high rate is a great trade. The Roth also fits anyone who expects higher taxes in retirement, wants the flexibility to access contributions, hates the idea of forced withdrawals, or wants to leave a tax-free inheritance. And there's a quiet bonus. Because you already paid the taxes, every dollar in a Roth is truly yours. What you see is what you get. No future tax bill hiding inside the balance. Now the flip side, who tends to win with a traditional IRA? If you're a high earner in your peak years, the upfront deduction can be genuinely valuable. It cuts your tax bill today when your rate is highest. That's especially true if you reasonably expect to be in a lower bracket once you retire and your income drops. The traditional also makes sense if you need that tax deduction now to free up cash to actually invest, or if you're closer to retirement with fewer years for tax-free growth to pay off. So the honest rule of thumb, high tax rate now, lower expected later, lean traditional. Low rate now, higher expected later, lean Roth. Let's turn this into a plan. First, the do's. General principles, not personalized advice. Do open an IRA even if you have a 401k. The wider, cheaper investment choices are worth it. Do base the Roth versus traditional call on your honest read of your tax rate now versus in retirement. Do favor a Roth if you're young or in a lower bracket, and consider a traditional if you're a high earner wanting the deduction today. Do check the income limits before contributing to a Roth, and do automate it. Set up a monthly transfer into your IRA so it happens without willpower. Consistency, more than picking the perfect account, is what actually builds the balance. Now the don'ts. The mistakes that quietly cost people. Don't obsess over finding the perfect account. A funded traditional beats an empty Roth every time. Getting money invested matters more than which flavor. Don't forget the contribution limit is combined across both IRAs, not per account. Don't raid your IRA early. Pulling out earnings before 59 and a half can trigger taxes and a 10% penalty, plus you lose the growth. And don't assume you make too much for a Roth without checking. The limits are higher than many people think, and the backdoor exists. Finally, don't leave your IRA in cash. Contributing is step 1. You still have to invest it. Let's recap by the numbers. An IRA is your personal retirement account, and for 2026, you can put in $7,500 or $8,600 if you're 50 or older, combined across both types. The traditional gives you a tax break now and taxes you later, with required withdrawals starting at 73. The Roth gives you no break now, but tax-free withdrawals later, no required distributions ever, and access to your contributions anytime. Roth income limits for 2026 phase out around $153,000 to $168,000 for singles and $242,000 to $252,000 for couples. The whole decision: higher tax rate now, lean traditional; higher later, lean Roth. Here's the real takeaway. There's no universal winner between Roth and traditional, only the right fit for your tax rate, your timeline, and your goals. But for a huge number of working people, especially the young and those early in their careers, the Roth's tax-free growth and flexibility make it awfully hard to beat. At USAFinance, that's the whole mission. Hand you what you need to get, keep, and grow your money. Sourced in plain English, never advice. If this cleared it up, subscribe. It's free, and it's how we keep going. And next time, we tackle the number that quietly runs your financial life, your debt-to-income ratio, and why lenders care about it more than your credit score. I'm Don Blake. Make your money work. We'll see you next time.